Hello, everyone, and welcome to this video. My name is Coach Mark, and I'm so excited that you have come across this excellent series in Speedrun on one of my favorite openings for white, which is the Stonewall Attack. I will only be playing games from the white side, so you will see some differences and gaps in the rating level as we progress through the speedrun. I'm going to be playing 3-minute, 2-second increment games in this format because my goal is to show you guys lots of different games and to teach you how to play this opening and what to do based on Black's response. So my emphasis will be on the opening moves. Also be ready to pause the video at critical moments so you can practice trying to figure out the best moves in certain positions. In this video, I will start at a rating level of 700 and we will finish at 800. If you haven't already done so, please make sure you watch my main video on the Stonewall Attack so you have a good idea of the things that we will be discussing during the games. Let's go ahead and jump in. And our first game with white, D4. Not Almo. Breaking Bad. What a fantastic series. Love that series. Okay, D5. We're seeing a lot of D5, so we're going to meet that with E3. Knight F6. We're going to play bishop to D3. Remember our first three moves. Most of the time, we're trying to get in D4, E3, and bishop to D3. We know that one of the main things we're trying to stop in the Stonewall Attack is we have to stop the move E5 by Black at all cost. Anytime they are able to play E5 with the opportunity, the option to recapture with some other piece, we have to meet that with F4. So anytime we see this early knight to C6, we have to play F4, and now they cannot play this or will simply take. Okay, they played G6, so they're playing the Grunfeld, so they're going to fianchetto their dark squared bishop, and they're going to castle. So we have two things we're trying to prevent here. We're trying to stop knight to B4. We're trying to stop knight to E4. And we have to figure out, do they have the ability to play bishop to F5? Yes, they do. So when they have that option, we need to, I'm going to put a higher priority on stopping knight to B4. So I'm going to play C3. On the next move, I'm going to play knight to D2. Okay, so here, actually, I can't play knight to D2 because if I do that, I'm just going to lose the bishop. This is a good move by Black. And so remember, guys, whenever they put their bishop on F5 and it's supported by either the G6 pawn or the E6 pawn, we do not want to take this. Because if we take this, they take with the pawn, and then they have a Maroczy bind on the E4 square. So if we take, they hop their knight in, they have a knight here that we cannot dislodge. And if we ever take it, when they take back with either pawn, they're going to have a pawn on our side of the board, and that's going to be a thorn in our side. So we do not want to take this. I can't play knight to D2 because, like I said, the bishop hangs. So I'm actually going to play the move queen to C2 here, and I'm going to ask the question, what does this bishop want to do? They could play queen to D7 to offer more support. If they take, we'll take back, and that's fine. Okay, so they do hop the knight into E4. And again, we're not always going to be able to stop every one of these moves. I'm going to go ahead and play. We have 1, 2 attackers. They have 1, 2 defenders, so we can't take that. Let's go ahead and play knight to D2. Now, the good thing is now that we played knight D2, they cannot play F5. And so now we're going to be able to clarify the center here. So best move for Black is taking here. Yep, they do. So let's go ahead and take back. I don't want to take back with the queen because I want to keep this tension on F5. So I'm going to take back with the bishop. And then once again, we're asked the question. Okay, so now they clarified it. So we recapture with the queen. And now our worries are gone. And so we have a simple plan here. We're going to play knight to F3 to E5. We're going to castle. We're going to hop the knight into E5. They take, we take back with the F pawn. I'm inspecting this and castling short. Yep. Let's hop the knight into E5. Could have castled first. I think either one is fine. Okay, interesting. So let's go ahead and castle. I wonder if they're considering castling long. That would be a big mistake because of the fork on F7. Maybe they want to take first and then castle long. We would love to see them castle long because we have a So they're not showing their cards here. So not really sure which side of the board they're going to castle on. So I'm going to go ahead and start attacking on the queen side. That's going to make castling long a little bit less attractive for our opponent. Ooh, not sure I like that move for black. That is screaming for a4 to be played. That also severely weakens the c5 square. Yeah, let's go ahead and play a4. Black can't castle now. As the words are coming out of my mouth, black can't castle because now we're just going to win a pawn. We have two attackers on this pawn and they only have one defender. So this is going to be a free pawn. Not to mention the fact that now we're double attacking the knight. So they either need to move the knight or take it. Let's see what they decide to do here. Any rook to b8 move would lose immediately. The queen takes. If they take our rook, we'd love to see that. Every move in chess weakens something, guys. What did that move weaken? Well, they play the knight bad. Now the rooks are connected. That's a free rook. Thank you very much. Now I simply, yeah, they resign. It's over. So now I simply just want to go queen to d7, trade off the queens, bring the rook over, double, and that will be lights out. Okay. Good game, Mr. Not Almo. Let's take a look at the game review. You guys should always be checking out the game review, whether you win or lose. You can always learn something from both wins and losses. 92%. That's fantastic. We have one inaccuracy, so let's go through this. Okay, this is very normal stuff. These are all book moves. And again, as soon as we see knight to c6, they're threatening this. In case you haven't seen any of the earlier speed runs, I will take a moment here just to explain why it's so important that we cannot allow e5. Let's say that, remember the four things we're trying to stop black from doing. Number one, we're trying to stop e5. Number two, we're trying to stop the light square bishop from getting to f5. Number three, we're trying to stop their knight from getting into e4. And number four, we're trying to stop the knight coming to b4. We're not always going to be able to stop all four of those things. So we have to figure out which one do we want to give the higher priority to, which one is more important. Stopping e5 is the most important of all four of those. If we try to stop the knight from coming in here, and let's say we play knight to d2, well, unfortunately, that's no good because now black can play e5. And now we have no good response to this for our Stonewall setup. If we take this, then they take. They're threatening to take our bishop, leaving them with the bishop pair. We're not going to be able, we don't have our zigzag dark square pawn structure that we like to have in the Stonewall, and it's just not a good position. So if we go back here, let's say that we played knight d2 and they play e5. Let's say we ignore this and we play c3. Well, now they can push the pawn to e4, and this is even worse because now our light square bishop has to back up. We don't have the move f4 because they can take en passant. We can't develop the knight to f3. It's just no good. So we have to immediately, when we see knight to c6, we have to immediately meet that with f4. Computer approves. Most of the time, the computer does not like the move f4 in the Stonewall, but yeah, computer approves in this case. They play g6, and so now we have to figure out which one of these guys do we want to stop, knight to b4 or knight to e4. And remember, the secret is, can they play bishop to f5? If they can, we need to stop knight to b4 first. And let me give you another example. Let's say we try to stop knight to e4 and we hop the knight into d2. Well, now they play knight to b4, and now we don't have a very good move. Normally, we want to hold on to this bishop. If we just, we can't push c3, that just drops the bishop. If we develop, then they're going to take with check, and then we go here, we've lost our light squared bishop. This is not the end of the world, but it's just not a desirable position. We don't have our good pawn formation, and it's just not as good. Okay. Well, if they get the knight to b4, you might say, well, let's drop the bishop back. Nope. Now they get to play bishop to f5, and now we're stuck. We have no good response to this because they have two attackers on the c2 square, and we only have one defender. So we don't even have the ability to play knight to a3 to defend c2 because our knight's already on d2. And now what do? We're going to have to block. They're threatening the fort, right? They're threatening to win our rook. We're going to have to put the bishop back. They take, we take, they take. Our king can't castle. They're going to snap off our bishop, and it's just no good. This is not what we're looking for in the Stonewall setup. That's why it's so very important to stop knight b4 when they have the ability to play bishop to f5. So I played, let's go back. So I gave priority. I played c3, engine approves. And now they play bishop here. Good move. This is exactly what you can see. This is the best move. This is exactly what black should be doing. They should not be playing e6 and blocking in their light squared bishop. They need to get the bishop to f5 or perhaps bishop to g4 if we have our knight developed on f3. And let me show you this, guys. So this is what we don't want to do. Let me show you what happens if we take. We take, they take. You know, I say, oh, well, they got double pawns. Yeah. But remember, there are some exceptions to the rule where double pawns are actually pretty good. This is one of those. Because now let's say we play knight d2, and now they hop their knight into e4. And now they got this Maroczy bind. Like we have a Maroczy bind on the e5 square. They have a Maroczy bind on the e4 square, and I don't want to take this. Because then they take here, and now we can't develop our knight to a good square, right? So this is just not what we want. So I decided to stop knight to b4 first. Then they play bishop here, and now we play queen to c2. This is an excellent move. All right, so now they hop their knight in. We play knight d2, another good move, excellent move. Engine wants to develop the other knight first, but I'm going to clarify what's going on here in the center. I want to put the question to black immediately. What are you going to do here? They took, we took with the bishop. They took, they should not have done that. We take, and now it was kind of even, maybe slight advantage for black, and now we have a slight advantage for us. Now I can still play this, but because their knight is way over here on c6, they don't have an easy way to get this knight to e4. How is this knight going to get to e4 anytime soon? Well, to get to e4, you need to be on one of these two squares. How is this knight going to get to one of these two squares? It's not happening anytime soon, I can tell you that much. So even though, yes, they have this Maroczy bind, it's not as worrisome as if they had the knight on f6 and they can immediately hop it in. So we developed the knight. c4 was also a good move. There's 1/100th of a difference between those two moves. Okay, we hop the knight in. Yep, computer wants to go ahead and play c4. That was our only inaccuracy of the game. They went here, we castled. Okay, pushing b4 is fine. They push there, and you can see that even though the engine says this is a good move for black, I immediately knew this was not right. You can see here it's dead even, negative 0.06, 600ths of a pawn. They play this move, and now we have a decisive advantage. A4, I knew A4 was going to be the best move. We just want to tear down this structure. They haven't even castled yet. So we're threatening to take, and just win a rook if they don't castle. They didn't take. That's a bad move. And now we're just winning. Plus, or almost up +2, and it's just winning. They can't afford to give up this pawn on the B file. And that, of course, that just drops the rook in the game. But it was always going to be difficult for black from that point. And they just resigned. All right, good game. Not Almo. And the white pieces again, our highest rated opponent so far. We have somebody that's rated 854, D5. Here we again, we see that D5. It's just like every single time. It's just fine. It's an absolutely fine opening. Now, again, you're now starting to see as we climb up the rating ladder, you're starting to see players that are playing better moves against our setup here. And this is what black should do. They beat us to the punch. We were not able to stop bishop to f5, and that's okay. All right, now here, this is the first time we've seen this. This is the first time we've seen the bishops in tension with each other, and they've dropped the bishop back to g6 here. Now, normally I would play like I would play knight d2, c3. I'm actually going to switch it up here. I'm going to go ahead and play this early F4. They're not threatening E5, but I'm going to go ahead and play this early F4. Why? Because maybe they'll play a move like this and they will immediately lose to, okay, so that is actually a good move. So had they not played that, if they had developed both of their knights, we just push F5 and that just traps the bishop and wins the game. So that's a good move by black. They're basically playing a Caro-Kann type position, but their light square bishop is outside the pawn chain. So it's going to make it a little bit more difficult for us to attack on this diagonal. So let's continue with knight to D2. Now I'm allowing them to take here because this is going to be a very good bishop. So this is one of those times where, yeah, I don't mind the exchange of light square bishops here. Now I can't play C3 because that does drop the bishop. I'm going to go ahead and develop knight to F3. I want to get the knight into E5 and I want to trade off this light squared bishop. Okay, normal developing move. Let's castle. I may want to jump the knight into E5, hop this other knight into F3, then play C3 and queen C2. Okay, so this is a good opportunity to jump the knight in. We would love for them, please, please, please take us. And I'm still okay with this. Okay, so they actually do allow us to snap off the light squared bishop, which is good because now we're going to be able to maintain pressure here. Let's go ahead and play C3. We are still controlling E4 with the knight on F6. Okay, decent move by black. Let's go ahead and play knight to F3. I want to hop this other knight back into E5. We would love for them to push to C4 or take us. Either one is fine. Okay, so they take. How do we take, guys? 99% of the time we take from right to left. That's another reason why I played knight to F3 is because they were attacking this pawn with their bishop and the bishop on C1 was guarding that. Okay, no brainer here. We're going to jump the knight into E5. Let's remove the threat on our F4 pawn. Now, whenever black has this setup here where they have double pawns on the G file, if there is no knight on F6, then a lot of times I want to bring my queen to G4. And a lot of times we'll be looking at different sacrifices on either G6 or F7, especially if we know we're going to be able to recapture this pawn on E6. Okay, so they play knight to E4. Good move by black. Okay, we could take this, but if we take it, they take. We don't have a way to immediately recapture the pawn, and then they can play F5. Yes, that means that G6 will be loose, but I'm not really that excited about capturing the knight on E4 because number one, we give up the bishop pair, which we don't like to do. And secondly, I don't like them being able to play F5. So here I think a good move is queen F3. Then we are threatening to win this pawn. I think I will play that. We could play rook E1, but I like to retain the option of a rook lift because the H file is open. So let's go ahead and play queen to F3. Let's threaten the pawn. Now, if they play this move, then they're going to drop G6. So don't know what black's going to do here. I mean, you could retreat the knight, but this move looks no good. No bueno for black. There's really nothing else to do with this knight. You either have to move it back or you have to play F5. Otherwise, we're going to, yeah, so they do play it. They're going to drop the G6 pawn. We have F4 triple covered, even though they have two attackers on it. Yeah, and now I just simply want to hop the knight back. I'm going to remove this threat. And now remember, guys, in a lot of games, we want to reroute this dark squared bishop. We want to make this kind of maneuver. So they got their rook over here. Maybe eventually they want to they can't move their king to F7. So I don't know. They're maybe looking to try to get a queen or a rook over here attacking H2. Let's go ahead and I actually am considering taking this. I think I will take this here because I want to get this dark squared bishop into the game. So let's put our queen on G3. I know we don't have a lot of time here. Yeah, so we take right to left, and that's a blunder. That just loses the rook. And that's what I'm telling you guys. This is the best game that Black has played against us so far, in my opinion. They did all the things they're supposed to do, but they just, you know, I'm telling you guys, they just can't stand it. They cannot leave this knight here. They feel the urge to snap it off. And now they've got a bishop hanging and the rook is hanging and they can't take it back. And then we have a rage quitter. They are so angry that they blundered this. Okay, so they do resign. Good game, Mr. SAK005. Well played game by Black. Let's take a look here at the game review and see how we did. 90%. And that was one of our longer games. So very happy with that. Couple inaccuracies, but a good game on our part. Anything above 80% is good. Anything above 90% is outstanding. So let's take a look here. And you can see here, this is a very good move by Black. Okay, so we played bishop d3. And again, the computer wants to go c4, but remember, guys, c4 is just not part of our setup. The only time we're ever going to play c4 in the Stonewall is when they play the King's Indian defense, where they have a pawn on d6, g6, knight f6, bishop g7, and they castle. And in those situations, yes, we're going to play c4 and knight to c3 because the King's Indian is a passive opening. Otherwise, we want to be playing c3 and knight d2. So they drop the bishop back, which is a good move. Computer loves that idea. So we push f4, and we do have a threat here. So once again, the computer wants to develop knight to f3, but again, if we play knight to f3, we're not going to get the Stonewall because that blocks in the f-pawn. So I play f4 here, and we will see this at some point. I feel quite confident we will see that Black will stumble into this trap. It's kind of like almost like a Noah's Ark trap. So Black plays the best move, which is to prevent the f5 push. Okay, we develop, knight f3. Yeah, computer wants us to go ahead and snap this off. We could have taken that. I was trying to retain the bishop pair. Okay, we castle. Okay, drop the knight into e5 is the best move. And then here, yeah, you can see this. This is absolutely the best move. I mean, I think probably Black should have exchanged here, but now we have the bishop pair. So they take back. Now we have a sizable advantage, almost 6/10 of a pawn. Good move by Black. Okay, develop to f3. They take. And you can see that's just not a very good move. And you guys have heard me say this before in the earlier speedrun videos that Black needs to play c5 and keep this tension for as long as they can. Because as soon as you push c4 or as soon as you take, I know exactly what's going to happen in the center. Now I have the green light to stick the knight on e5. If they push the pawn to c4, we have the green light to push e4 in the middle when the time is right. And so now we just have a very good position. Now we're already up above +1. We're getting close to that winning territory. Like 1.4, 1.5 is kind of considered winning. So now, yeah, obviously that was a no-brainer. I said that during the game. Hop the knight into e5. Okay, good move by Black. So hop the knight into e4. So that was our inaccuracy, or I think one of the two inaccuracies. Computer prefers queen to e2, and I'm imagining that's because computer wants to reroute this dark squared bishop, or perhaps the rook lift, and queen to f3 does block the rook lift. Okay, so they play, yeah, didn't like that move for Black, but you know, what else are they going to do? So that just drops the g6 pawn. Hopping the knight back was good. Yep. Okay, so that was our other inaccuracy. I wasn't quite sure about this. but we were getting low on time, and so I just wanted to remove this knight, and I was considering moves like, H3, G4, but that does give up the bishop pair. They took back Queen G3, computer likes, and yeah, that just loses the game. That's just lost. Take back right to left, and now bishop's hanging, rook's hanging, and there's just nothing to do here for black, so they resigned. Good game, SAK 005. White pieces again, D4. Mr. Tal Hamir from Pakistan. Okay, D5, E3. Knight F6. Bishop to D3. As soon as we see knight to C6, we have to meet that with F4 to stop E5. Yes, sir. E6. They're playing the French. Okay, which one do we stop? Knight to B4 or knight to E4? Okay, can they play bishop to F5? No, they can't. So in this case, I'm going to put a higher priority on knight to E4 and play knight to D2, because now if they play knight to B4, we drop the bishop back and they don't have this move. And here we go. We drop the bishop back and they don't have bishop to F5, so they are no longer threatening our C2 pawn. So now in the next move, I can play C3. Knight goes back, we put the bishop back. Yeah. You might say, well, we wasted a move. Yeah, but so did black. They wasted a move too. Now they got to go right back to where they were. Okay, put the bishop back. And we carry on. And this is an absolutely terrible structure for black against the Stonewall. Kudos to them for not putting their bishop on D6, because the bishop on D6 does nothing. Okay, another good move. We've seen this a bunch of times. We played queen to E2. We're supporting the E3 pawn. This move does nothing. When we castle, stick the knight on E5. This knight is going to have to figure out what it wants to do. It's a good move by black because at the lower levels, I do think there will be some white players that will not see that the E3 pawn is hanging, but outside of that, it does waste some time. Okay, so we castle. This move doesn't do much. Black's rook on the E file is not going to do anything in the Stonewall if we're able to stick a knight on E5. All right, so they put the bishop back on this square, back on the square. Now when we hop the knight into E5, I give them like a 5% chance that they don't take that. We saw it last game. It's one of the few players we've ever seen that put the knight on G4 and then they're like, okay, yep, that wasn't a good move. They admit and just hop back on F6. Yep, they're going to take it every time. And that just loses a piece. It's amazing. Now they got two things hanging. You got two things hanging. The game's over. On move 12, the game's over. Stonewall strikes again. Okay, that's a good try. Good try. They're threatening checkmate, but now when we play H3 again, they still have two pieces hanging, so they're going to lose something. Not to mention this knight's going to have to go back to this miserable square that we saw in the last game. Take here. Now they're going to take back with the pawn, which isn't great for us because the pawn here does box out the E5 square for us. I'd love to be able to play knight E5 and hop it back on the E5 square. We're not going to be able to do that. So in this case, what do we do? Well, I could play queen to F3. That's attractive, but the knight, again, this knight is on H6. So as long as this piece is defended, I'm not as excited to play this. I'm going to go ahead and play the move F4, E4, excuse me, E4, because I want to liberate this dark square bishop. So they take. Now I do like taking back with the knight because I think we may be threatening to take that in some lines. Taking with the bishop. I'm not as excited about it. I want to get this dark square bishop into the game, so I want to bring this guy in because now we're threatening bishop to g5, and that appears to trap the queen. Yeah, so bishop g5, no, 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 no. Yeah, that traps a queen. So that might provoke black to play f6 if they see this move. Otherwise, the queen should get out of there. But if the queen gets out of there, then I definitely would take the knight because then they'll double the pawns and we have an open g file to play with. Not as excited to give up the bishop pair when I know they can simply recapture with the queen. But this pawn is hanging, so they've got some. I think probably the best move. I don't know what the best move for black is. Maybe it is back and just try to deal with the double pawns here, but this is just dead lost. Yeah, and we're gonna get a rage quitter here. Okay, so let's take a look at the review. Goodness gracious, guys, that's our highest percentage right there. I mean, of course, it's a short game, so it's not uncommon to see really high percentages in short games if you play all good moves, but 96%, yeah, that's the power of the Stonewall. It wasn't anything, guys. There wasn't a single move that I played that was anything genius on my part. Not a single move. It's just the Stonewall played itself there. E3, we see bishop d3. As soon as we see knight d6, we play f4. They play d6. And look at this. The engine shows this is a dead draw. But I'm telling you guys that this is a bad move against the Stonewall. Unless you get up into the really high levels, the high teens, 16, 17, 1800, and guys, girls and guys that know how to play against this. I mean, this is just a bad move. Okay, knight d2, that stops knight e4. And we finally got to see this, what I've been talking about. We just don't care about this move. We just drop the bishop back. That is the best move. And then c3 is the best move. And they got to go right back where they were. And then we put the bishop back where it was. And, and we went from 0.00 to now we have a slight advantage because black wasted time. We were able to get into developing move while their knight is still sitting on the square where it was. And we got to throw in an extra move. So it's like we gained a tempo and all of that. Let's see, f3 is good. Yeah, interesting that the computer wants to push e4 here already. Yeah, a few tenths of a pawn difference, but again, I decided to go queen e2. Castling is fine. Kicking the knight, only 800ths of a pawn of a difference there. Yeah, and look at that, guys. The engine hates this move, because that's what I've been saying. I mean, once we get the knight here and we have these pieces, that this bishop on d6 doesn't do anything. At least the bishop on d6 is stopping our dark square bishop from getting on that diagonal, and you can see it's just over. It's over. This is already winning, but now it's clearly winning. They got two pieces hanging. Good try there by black, but h3 is going to win the game on the spot. And there we go. E4 was the best move just to open things up, open this up. They taking with the knight was best. And yeah, it's black knows it's over here. I can't even find a good move for black in this position. And by the way, guys, if you're looking at this, they came out with this several months ago where chess.com will tell you what you played like. You might say, well, 96%, why doesn't it say why doesn't we say we played like a grandmaster? Why is this showing like 26, 2700? And that's a good question. And the answer to that is because at the lower levels, when your opponent plays really bad moves, the computer is not going to give you credit for playing like an international master, a grandmaster, or playing like a 2400, because really, like I said before, at the end of the game, we didn't do anything special. And so the engine's not going to give us credit for playing like some master level because we didn't do anything outside the open. We just played normal moves. They're the ones that played like they actually didn't play so bad themselves. They played like a 950, which is actually 200 34 points higher than their own rating. So, but again, we're not going to see the engine is showing that we're playing like a 22 or 2300 up until we start playing players at the 15, 16, 1700 where they are actually playing good moves against the Stonewall and we get into like a 40 or 50 move game. So just keep that in mind. So that was a quick one, 96%. We'll take it. All right, D4, Florida bird breeders. Wow. Florida bird breeders. Okay, D5, E3. Okay, C6. Bishop to D3. All right. It's a rare line. We haven't seen bishop, knight to D7 very much, but they are threatening E5, so we need to meet that with F4. Oh, no, 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 no. You shouldn't be moving your piece twice in the opening, right? So let's go ahead and they're not threatening knight B4 or knight E4, so let's just kind of continue with our main moves. Okay, now they are threatening to hop the knight into E4, so we play knight D2. Get a good clamp on E4. Okay, knight to F3. All right, we know the drill. Castle, knight E5. Right, expecting them to castle. Okay, this is one of the few games that we've played so far, guys, where once we put the knight on E5, there's actually no piece that can take it. A very, very strange opening choice here for black. So now we are looking at our gambit of attacking ideas. One is getting your queen out to G4 or H5. We can't do that because there's a knight on F6. We have the rook lift, and we also have G4, G5. Their bishop is here. There's not going to be a whole lot of pressure on H3, I don't believe. So let's go ahead and try a rook lift in this game. Yeah, the only thing you might worry about with the bishop here is if the rook is on H3, maybe the knight moves, they play F6. We have to retreat the knight, and then they play E5 to put pressure on the rook. But this knight doesn't really have a good square to go to. No, no, no. So not as scared about or worried about this bishop opening up on the rook. Okay, so they play G6. So obviously looking at G4, G5 is a possibility. Maybe queen to F3 to get the queen over here to H4 for the old caveman approach. We could also slide our rook in here to H6, which will make it difficult for black to make it impossible for them to move their H pawn. So I'm thinking queen here to here looks good. And if they do play H5, then we'll have some opportunities from some sacrifices. So I think I will go queen E1 here and either put the queen on H4 or maybe G3. Yeah, so they do go for this. So here again, I like, well, here G4 looks good. Actually, even sacrificing looks good. So takes, check, king here. And don't know that there's a clean knockout there. It will just play G4, kick this knight back, and then play queen to G3, or maybe rook to H6. Ah, interesting. I don't like that move for black, because now we can take here. and they have to move their bishop somewhere. We take here, and now our rook is opened up. If we take here first, then they can retreat the knight. So takes, knight retreats, and we don't have access to, yeah, so let's go ahead and take the knight first, and then I'm going to take on g6. I know we're low on time. Oh, that's just a blunder. Nope. That's a free piece there, bud. All right, let's bring in the queen. They've got a check. We can sidestep that. Yeah, it's not an issue. They take, we take, pressure on h7. Looks very, very good. Yeah, I don't see what else black can do other than taking the queen here. If we take here, that's going to be game over very quickly. And this is why you can't play the French defense against the Stonewall. This bishop cannot help. I don't know what this knight is doing over here on b6. It can't help in the attack. Yeah, so they take, we take, we're going to take here. Okay, so let's go ahead and push e4. We know the drill. Takes, takes. Bishop is on the rook. Okay, so they are threatening. So let's go ahead and play knight to f3. They are threatening something fairly serious, which is checkmate. That also unleashes the bishop, which is what I wanted to do anyway. Okay, let's take here. And I want to take here and threaten checkmate. They're going to have to bring one of these rooks to g7. And then knight to g5 should be the knockout blow. Oh, that's just game over. Okay, good game, Florida Bird Breeders. Let's check out the game review. Okay, 86%. One mistake, one inaccuracy. That might have occurred when our time got low. Normal opening here. Very weird. One of this I think, guys, this is the first game where we've actually seen f4 was actually the best move. Very strange for them to put their knight on b6 there. That's fine. That's good. That's best move. Castling is excellent. Knight e5, best move. Yeah, so it likes the rook lift. About 2/10 of a pawn difference between the rook lift and the immediate g4, g5. We were kind of going back and forth between those two. That was good. Computer likes that. Only 5/100ths of a pawn difference between that and b3. And again, guys, we're not going to be messing with the a and the b pawns in most of these games in the Stonewall Attack, especially at the lower levels. Okay, they did play the best move there. Okay, computer likes that. Queen to e1 to threaten this. Okay, yeah. So was the sacrifice, I wonder if the sacrifice was good. Okay, so no, I did play the best move. I wonder what sacrificing here. I didn't see a knockout immediate. Yeah, so that actually doesn't work. So that's basically going back to a draw. Yeah, I couldn't find a knockout blow there. So I decided to play g4. That was the best move. They took here. And okay, so computer actually, I guess this was our mistake. So computer actually wanted us to take this way and force the knight back here. So I guess the idea is if we take the bishop, force the knight back here, we can play g5, and then we get the queen in here. And that looks fairly unpleasant. So I decided to go with taking the knight. Yeah, that's just a big blunder. That just gave us a free piece. And then from here, there's not really much to talk about. I mean, I only had 10 seconds here, so I mean everything here is winning, of course. That's fine. Fine. Good move. Yeah. And that's just mate. All right. On to the next one. Another d5. All right, here we go. The immediate knight to c6, f4, to stop e5. Okay, good move by black. They beat us to the punch. We're going to challenge the bishop on f5. Okay, good move. Here, they are not threatening to put a knight on e4. We don't want to allow this move, so let's go ahead and play c3 to stop this. Okay. Yeah, so I can't play knight dd2 where the bishop falls. Let's go ahead and play queen c2, knight f3. Both of those look good. Let's go with queen c2 this time. If they put the knight there, we'll play knight to d2, and they will not have the option to play f5 behind it, which is good. So that's going to pretty much force them to take this, unless they want to play queen to e6, which is a very disturbing move in my opinion. In the tank. Wow. Yeah, sorry, buddy. You got to count. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. We have more attackers than defenders. That's a free pawn.
It was at this moment that he knew.
Whoops. And now if he doesn't do anything, I am going to take this queen takes and queen takes. I've said all along the speed run, we don't want to take this bishop when they have the option to take back with a pawn, but now they've lost one of their center pawns. Yeah, I just don't yeah, well, okay, they castled long. That does make me pause for a second because if we take here, they take here, they will have a G file to play with. So that does cause me to slow down just a bit. I don't necessarily want to voluntarily open up the G file. We want them to take, so I think I'll just develop knight to f3, maybe throw in the knight to e5 after we castle. And now they can't really push over here because they're going to leave their bishop hanging. Yeah, you're not going to be able to push that. That just hangs the bishop. I might consider knight h4 just to kind of force the issue here. Yeah, so they finally take. And what do we do when they castle long, guys? It's an all-out attack. Now, queen c2 or queen d3? I think queen c2. I don't want to go into a pin here. So go here. I can get to this square. I go here. I can get to this square. Both of those look pretty good. I'm going to play it a little bit safe. If I put the queen on d3, then they did have e5 because of the pin. Now I want to play. Okay, I don't understand that move. That just helps me gain space with tempo. We also have knight e5 and a potential fork, so I like both of these moves. I'm going to go with knight e5 and see if they are likely to play queen here or here to defend the fork. Highly doubt they'll go back. Yeah, that doesn't look like a very good move for black. And now let's go ahead and play b4, and now black is in trouble. Because if you go here, now I'm going to take, or actually I can go for the immediate pin. That looks good. So here, and then a4 looks pretty bad. Yeah, that's going to force this move. And then we play a4. They go here, takes. Rook there is going to be very, very, very unpleasant. I don't see any other move than b5. That's a free piece. Now, we don't want to take with the knight because then we're in a pin. So we want to take with the queen. Then after you take, that's going to force. Okay. Just up a piece. I want to put the knight back on e5, most likely, just to make sure there's no future for this poor dark squared bishop. Yep, so let's go here. I just want to box this guy out of the game. Start pushing pawns over here. Oof. Don't trade when you're losing, guys. Now E4 is going to hurt. Yeah. That's one of our middle game strategies. I will be posting some videos on our 10 middle game strategies. But anytime, if we back up here, anytime you can break up in the center with a pawn push where that pawn forks two things, it just clears the path. So if the king's not castled, if you're winning, these are the kind of moves that you want to make just to open up the position, right? Take back with the rook. Want to develop yeah, I want to put the bishop maybe on f6. I think I'll drop my rook back to a light square so I can get my bishop here. Doubling, of course, is good. If they don't push this pawn, I'm going to play h4, and that's going to completely shut down any hope for black having an attack on this side of the board. They play that. Yeah, well, that just loses a rook. Can't put those rooks on the same color as my bishop there, bud. Nope, this is protected. That's another reason I put the bishop back on f3, because it was protected. Yeah. Felt like that was a pretty good game. There we go. Yeah, that felt good. 94%. Not a single suboptimal move. 3 good moves, 9 excellent, 12 best, 2 great moves. For those of you who don't know, a great move is basically a move that you make where that's the only really decent move you have. Like you played the one best, but anything other than that one move was not going to be good for you. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's some kind of brilliant, great move. It just means you found the one move that you had to play. So let's go through this. Normal stuff, f4, when we see knight to c6. We've seen this. Now, this particular line we haven't seen a whole lot of. We haven't seen bishop to f5 and being supported by the queen. I like that for black. I think that's what they should be doing. I like e6 and g6 for black. Once they get the dark square bishop outside the pawn chain, then it's okay to play e6. So knight there. Yeah, so taking was okay, but again, I don't really necessarily like the queen coming here, so I want to kind of force the issue. Queen c2, computer's fine with that. Yeah, that's a good move. And that's just a big blunder. Yeah, computer actually says they want to retreat the knight. Yeah, and so, I mean, guys, players at the 1,000 and under level, they're not going to be playing these types of moves, right? When we play this here, we've got 3 attackers. There are really only 2 options that I see here, and that is maybe defending with the queen, really bringing the knight back to f6 doesn't work because we have 2 attackers on that. So in most of these cases, I'm thinking they probably just take here. Okay, so taking, yeah, and you can see right there, guys, it's lost. It's already 1.9, plus 1.9, almost plus 2, completely winning here. Okay, so it did want that's interesting. The computer did want to take that. I was a little bit skeptical. I guess we could have taken, they take, and we probably could have just castled long. I just, we're up material, we have a crushing position. I just didn't feel the need to open up the G file. Okay. Now they took. Yeah, back to C2 was the best move. Yeah, knight 5 was the best move. B4 was good. Yeah, that's just asking to be pinned. That was the one great move. And I was anticipating this, 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 this perhaps. King here and then queen here looks, or actually, okay, so that apparently is a blunder. So just looking to see how we could, yeah, can't play that because our rook is hanging. So maybe the quick rook to a8 move is a bit premature. But we could at least take the knight here. Maybe takes, and we just got some play here on the H file. But all that looked good. But anyway, they didn't play that, so they just left the knight hanging there. So taking with the queen best. Yeah, and now the game is just over. Every move here was good. These are all best moves, good moves. Yeah. All right, dominating game. So we have, wow, what a name. Caliban Buang. Okay. What will we get? How many times have we seen this variation? All right. Yes, they can play bishop to f5, so I'm going to stop knight b4 first. Okay, let's go ahead and jump the knight into d2. Queen c2, and carry on. Expecting castling. Unless you want to give up your light square bishop. Okay. Maybe they want to castle long. Very possible they want to castle long here. Anytime we've seen these, oh, yes, please. More of that. More of that, please. Got the two bishops. That's a free pawn. Thank you very much. This maybe. Otherwise, knight here. Yep. Now we're threatening to win another pawn. More of that. We love it, love it, love it. And it is time to attack. Okay. Yeah, I like attacking here. Anytime this, very difficult for black to get any kind of pressure when they really can't move their F pawn. Okay. Now I want to play bishop here, and we're threatening to win a piece with a double attack on the knight and the queen. Bishop doesn't have, okay, so they go ahead and get out of the way. Now, again, guys, when you make a pawn push that attacks two things, that's an action move. That's going to force some kind of exchange. Where is this knight going? Oof. The knight has to go all the way back here. Let's go ahead and pin this guy, or actually, b5 is hanging. We could push. Just really open things up. Yeah, that actually looks good. I like that. Let's go ahead and sacrifice the pawn just so we can kind of open up the position. Because if they take here, yeah, oof. Now bishop here looks absolutely crushing. I'm actually going to play rook here first. I don't want to allow the knight here. I want to pin the knight, and I just want to go bishop here, and that'll be game over. Yep, this is going to hurt really, really, really bad. Yikes. You're going to have to sacrifice your queen. And that is GG. Good game. All right. That was a quick one. Yeah, I mean, you can see, guys, every time black castles long, they get into trouble immediately. 90%. Yep. Take that every time. Seen all this before. Yeah, that's a free pawn. Black is now lost. We're only up 1 point of material, and it's completely winning. Okay, computer, that was one of our inaccuracies. Computer doesn't want us to hop the knight into e5, but I was trying to see if we could provoke them for taking, and if they don't, then we're going to win a pawn here, and then this is weak. I take back. It's still completely lost. Yep. Computer likes pawn pushes. You can see here when they castle long, it's A4, A4, B4 as fast as possible. Yep. I knew that was going to be the best move because that's going to force the position to open up. If they take here, we take back. That's how the game progressed. If they move the knight somewhere, then we're going to take here, they take here, and then the king is wide open. So black is just going to be toast here. Okay, so that was our other inaccuracy. It's completely winning, but I had a feeling that the black was going to take here and we were going to be able to slide our bishop into this D6 square. Yeah, you can see that's a big, big mistake. So black has to take, but still, if they take here, I'm still looking at this to this. I'm still looking at getting the rook down. Oops, sorry. Getting the rook down, sneaking in our bishop to D6, and it's just a very, very bad position. But black decided to go with the worst move. Yeah, and so it's very important not to rush here because if the knight gets here, then they're kind of clogging up the A file, and we'll have to sacrifice our rook at some point. So I wanted to go ahead and go down there, pin that knight, and then this is all game over. They have to sacrifice their queen here. All right, good game. 33 black, crazy 33. Okay, good luck. Immediate C5. Let's go ahead and play E3. Okay, now we have our opportunity to play D3. Okay, that's a weird move. Bishop D3. Why would you free and shadow your bishop when you have a pawn on D5? Okay, let's go ahead and play F4. They're not threatening E5. They're not threatening knight to E4 just yet. Okay, knight D2. Yeah, I just don't understand this structure when you're blocking in your light squared bishop like that. Okay, now here they actually they can jump this into E4 because they do have the bishop on B7. We could play queen to C2. I think I'll jump the knight into E5, and if they don't immediately hop that in, I'll play queen to F3. If they go ahead and jump the knight into E4 now, I'll play queen to F3 anyway, because we will have 3 attackers on E4. Okay, so now I'm definitely going to play queen to F3, so we have a lockdown on this E4 square. Yeah, it's just so many people walk into this. Okay, let's go ahead and take. We would love for you to continue trading. Please continue trading. If you take the pawn, then that will lose a pawn. Very much for the free pawn. And black is content to continue trading and just keep on trading off pieces. That makes it more and more difficult for them to win the game. All right, so let's go ahead and try to get the queens off while we're attacking F7. I don't want to take this because that leaves us with an isolated E pawn. I want them to take so we can take back. These 2 moves are the only 2 moves that don't trade off the queen and protect Yeah, that's not going to do it there, bud. That's a free pawn on F7. All right, cleanest way to win from here. Really want to try to get this dark square bishop into the game. I think I'll play here. They take, I'll take. Yeah, that's fine. We don't mind that. Let's bring the queen back to, let's bring the queen back to 5. We'd love for you to continue trading. Please continue trading. Okay, let's trade. Let's trade, baby, all day. Okay, take here. If they take, I'm not going to take because that allows check, forking the. I'd rather them take. I'd rather them take, and then we take back with the bishop, and then this bishop would be eyeing down the G7 square for the rest of the game. Let's go ahead and try to trade rooks. Don't see anything much better. Yeah, I would love for you to take this and me have a beautiful bishop on C3. Okay, let's see here. Check, check. Pick up the pawn. That looks pretty good. I can take this, but that's not a big deal. Actually, why don't we go ahead and hit the queen first, and then we can take the pawn, just so there are no shenanigans there on the back rank. I'm going to take with the pawn. That just gives my pawn 1 square closer to promoting. This square is covered. So a check there. They can give a check here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess we can protect that. I'm going to put the bishop on this square and then exchange everything off on G7. So queen G6 will be my most likely next move, threatening checkmate. And now I don't see how black stops this. They could give a check. The only thing I see is check and then get the queen here. About the only thing I see. Yeah. Then here I'll just trade everything off the board. Yeah. Check. Takes. And this is just too much. Too many pawns. So here, make sure the king can't get in. And now we've got a bunch of pawns that we could push. In here, slide the king in there. And we're going to push. Push. Past pawns must be pushed. GG, 33, black crazy 33. Let's take a look at the game review. 89%. Very good. We had one miss. So let's, okay, it's fine. 4, 92, 3. Yep, hop the knight in E5. Peter likes queen F3. I wanted to hurry up and make sure we had good control over E4. Yeah, classic blunder. And that's just it's just exchanging everything down. It's just you just can't do that. Your job when you lose a piece, When you're down material, your job is to keep pieces on the board and try to muddy the situation, wait it out. Hopefully your opponent blunders. Okay, it's fine. Yeah. Okay, the computer actually likes that. Okay, that was fine. Good. Okay, yep. Trade, trade, trade. That's good. That's good. All these are best moves. Computer likes that. Taking was best. Okay, everything's winning from this point. Yeah, I mean, that was our one miss, so yeah, makes sense because queen here is not a good way. Yeah, so the difference between this move and this move is the move that I played, queen to g6, they have a way out of it with the check and then getting their queen to b7, but queen here immediately, and now black has nothing. We're threatening checkmate, and they have no way for them to protect. The only thing they can do here is sacrifice the queen. So, but I mean, everything here is completely winning. So, I'm not gonna beat myself up in a 3-minute game over something like that. Just you see here, guys, that the engine actually approves of this. And I don't think a lot of you guys would play this. The engine actually says this is an excellent move. And the best move was only 3/10 better. So when you're up material, just trade everything off the board. As long as there's a queen on the board, you still have the opportunity to blunder. You still have the opportunity to lose the game. Just trade everything off. We're up 37 pawns, and this is just lights out. Okay, GG. On to the next game. All right. Chicken dark. I prefer white meat, but that's just me. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The French defense. All right, C5. One of the few times we've seen an early C5. We meet that with C3. Oh, yes. Even better, the C4 push. I'm expecting this. We'll hit them with knight D2. Okay. Okay, good move by black. So let's go ahead and play F4. Yep, knight F3. Okay, castle. Knight E5. Ooh, they take. Okay. So knight to E4. Whoa. What? Why not play knight to E4 there? I don't understand that. Okay, so protect the E3 pawn. Yeah, threatening checkmate. That's not a big deal. We always play H3 here. Knight to F3 is coming, hitting the queen. This is definitely when we have this closed position, when black is able to get into F5, this is definitely a position where we want to consider rerouting our dark square bishop, which I think I'll do here. Don't understand that. This bishop is staring at its own pawn. Black should be trying to get their bishop out, just like we're trying to get our dark square bishop out. Okay. To proceed from here. Definitely looking at moves like knight to H2 and then pushing G4 just to try to open up this light squared bishop. G4 now loses a pawn, so we can't do that. We go bishop here, knight back to F7 doesn't really do much. Yeah, so I think I'll pull pull the knight back to H2 and look for lashing out with G4. Again, we don't really care what's going on over here. Let's go ahead and push G4. Pawn takes, knight takes, knight takes, queen takes. Okay, I'll just take back here, no big deal. Ooh, that's asking for trouble. They're allowing us to push, eh? So push, knight here, push, pawn takes. Takes. That weakens d5. We can also just double our rooks. Yeah, I like doubling the rooks here because then we're actually threatening to push e4, and they won't be able to take because we'll be on f8. If they take here, I will take the rook first. Queen takes. That allows us to get our other rook into the game with tempo. So I'll take here first. Let's attack the queen with tempo. And then want to take this with the knight on the next move. Okay. Okay, knight takes, knight takes. We don't have queen takes. Do we in that position? Actually, we do. Knight takes, queen takes, takes. We pick up e6. That looks to be winning. Whoa, no, 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 no. You're allowing us to take with check? That can't be right. No, 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 no. All right, do we have anything better? Um, ugh, this looks really bad because now we come with check. That looks like that's going to be game over. That's it. That's lights out. King here, rook here, sacrifice, pawn takes. Yeah, you're going to have to sacrifice their rook here. Or actually, takes first, queen takes. They got to sacrifice their queen. That's even better. Yeah, because now they're not going to be able to stop checkmate. Takes is going to be, that's going to be mate. That's a KO. All right. So let's take a look at the game review there. All right, another 90%er. Pretty good. Okay, yeah, beat that with C3. They push, that's fantastic for us. Normal developing moves. Yeah, so computer wants us to go ahead and push E4 here, which is interesting. We usually don't push E4 this early in the game, but pushing here, if they take, then we take with the bishop, and that does appear to be losing. So yeah, those were a couple of our inaccuracies. Yeah, well, that's good. That's a mistake. Yeah, they definitely should have gone to E4 here. I didn't know what this move was. We could have played knight here to also protect the pawn. I decided to go queen E2. Yeah, that's an easy checkmate to avoid. We just play H3. Computer wants to go A4, but remember, guys, we're almost never going to be playing these types of moves in the Stonewall. Okay. Yeah, same thing here. So not surprising that we got dinged in our score just because we're not going to be playing these moves. It's just not part of our setup. Okay. So you notice the computer likes this little rerouting of the dark square bishop. This is one of the few games we've seen this. This is a very, very powerful bishop holding down the dark squares. Yeah, computer wanted to go there immediately. Here takes, what's the idea? Takes, takes, knight G5, hitting the knight. Okay. I decided to bring the knight back first before lashing out with G4. And I can clearly see G4 is the best move. Take it back. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, computer was okay with that. Only like a tenth of a pawn difference. If we don't do that, if we take here first, then rook takes, queen takes. Maybe they want to offer a trade of queens. So anytime I can take a rook on f8 is white, and they have to take back with a queen, and that allows the other rook to come in with tempo. I'm almost always going to do that. Yeah, that's a good move. Yeah, that just loses. That's absolutely the best move. And now this is going to be, yeah, it's a mate and four. That's the best move. That's the best move. That's the best move, and that's it. Good game, chicken dark. Oh boy, we're playing Rocky. Should I be scared? Bum, 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 ba-da-dum, bum, 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 ba-da-dum, bum, 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 bum. I don't think I'm going to be too scared when they're playing the French defense. Let's go ahead and stop knight e4. We're threatening e5, so we have to play f4, c3. Now we have solved the mystery of the two knights. Oh, we've seen this again. Very, very aggressive. I think we'll just ignore this. Again, they take, we take, we're still going knight e5. If they push, we're still going knight e5. Now we're double attacking this pawn, and this is going to be a free pawn. The knight has to move, and we got a free pawn. Yeah. That's another free pawn. So they probably should play that. Yep. So, yeah, let's go ahead and castle. I'm not really worried about any pressure here on the H file. If they play this move, once they play this move, whatever pawn they push, we'll push the other one. So if they were to play this and this, we push this. If they push this, we'll push this and lock it down. Okay, definitely want to play e4 to get this dark squared bishop into the game. We need to do something with our light squared bishop. Let's see here. Let's drop the bishop back to c2. This is a very safe square for the light squared bishop in the Stonewall. And how can I get the queen to the F file? Queen here to here. Try to double bishop here. Let's go ahead and push. Let's think about this for a minute. Yeah, I want to get my queen to the F file. I think I'm going to play queen E1 and queen F2. I just want to put some pressure on F7. So that's going to force black to play one of these types of moves. Oof. Oh, no, 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 no.
So you have chosen death.
Man, my goodness, guys, you just cannot leave your king like this exposed. So every time they move this F pawn, we take on passant. Now the check is coming, and this is just, oh, this this is just really, really bad. Yeah, I don't see a move here for black. Check's coming, bishop check's coming. This is already resignable. They did move. Okay. Check. In here. Yeah. So, best way to finish off the game from here. Could just push and push. Yeah, I think I will do that. We got to get this dark squared bishop involved somehow. Yeah. Let's go ahead and get the bishop here. Make sure the king can't escape. If they play their bishop here, we're more than happy to trade and push and have a protected pass pawn. Okay, that's a free pawn. Oof, that's really bad because now this is going to be coming like queen here, here. Okay. I like giving away free pawns. This move is going to hurt. So let's go here, hit the rook, hit the pawn. Yeah, once this pawn falls, they're going to actually have to sacrifice their queen. Yeah. Look at these beautiful, beautiful, beautiful bishops. Bishop pair, guys. Nothing like it. Down goes Rocky. I like Rocky. Feel kind of bad. And we're going to have another rage quitter. And this will likely be the last game of this speedrun video. It'll take us all the way up to 800. And then it'll be time to take down the 800s. GG, Mr. Rocky 07. All right, let's take a look at the game review. Wow, look at that. 93%. That was one of our longer games. That was a 23 move game. And you see guys here that I mean, a lot of these games are done after, 12 moves, 15, 17 moves. We're not playing any 30, 40 move positional grinded out games. I mean, and you might say, well, yeah, you're playing 800 level players, and that's true. But I think you'll see that once we get up into the teens and, 1200, 1500, we'll still see a lot of very quick games that are over within the first 15 or 20 moves. So let's go through this. Not a single inaccuracy or bad move. We love those types of games. Yeah. This is all normal stuff. Yeah, I never understand this G pawn push. And you can see here that taking is not good, and we just ignore it. If they take, we take, and we're still getting the Maroczy bind on E5 square. Not a big issue, and that's just a free pawn. And as you can see here, it's already completely 100% lost. Completely over with. Yeah, these are all best moves. Castling is fine. Okay, so computer likes that, only a tenth of a difference there. I like pulling the bishop back because I want to get this guy into the game. Yeah, queen there with the idea of going. Yeah, I wasn't sure here. Again, only a couple tenths of a pawn difference. I wasn't sure if we should push I think this was the biggest thing that I had during the game. I wasn't sure if we should push first but I wanted to make a big quick threat, and that's lights out. That is just, you cannot do that. You cannot leave your king exposed like that. Yeah, E4 push was best to get this guy into the game somehow. And you can see why you know, this bishop on this diagonal just paid huge dividends, right? Because we're not allowing the king to get over here in some kind of corner and prolong the game. That's just a free pawn. Yeah, so probably missed a little opportunity there to go ahead and hit this. So definitely could have played better there. Yeah, now we play it. Doesn't really matter. And that's lights out. They have to block with the queen. Takes, and it's just going to be game over. All right, we made it. Not going 1 point shy. That's good enough. We made it, guys, to the 800 level. Hope you guys are enjoying this, and we'll see you on the next speed run.